And we are live! Woohoo! Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to introduce to my purple sofa to the LinkedIn Live Lounge this week, the one and only, the wonderful Deanna Russo!
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. I'm excited to join you.
Oh, it's so brilliant to have you here. I love this.
Super excited. Like, this is marvelous.
We've
purple,
just been
the purple girls unite.
Yeah, we need to talk about that shortly. We definitely need to talk about this purple thing. But I'm just going. Let me just do my bits here at the side. So we have had the most interesting conversation backstage, as they say. We have so many things in common that we just didn't realize.
Nope.
I mean, lots of different things about how we operate in LinkedIn and how we teach, which we're going to go into shortly. But we have the same kind of children, the same, licorice all salt mix of two girls and a boy.
Yep.
Which is it's not that usual a combination, is it?
No. Unique.
Yeah, and we talked about that. But the other thing that I love about you and how we work together is how we divide LinkedIn into three separate parts.
Yep.
So I have a system which I call 3 steps to LinkedIn success.
Okay.
Yours is slightly different. Tell us about your is it the triangle system? Is that what you call it?
Triangle strategy.
That's it.
So it's made up of profile, engagement, and content. And you can't have one piece without the other two, hence the triangle. And if I was to create a square from that triangle, the fourth piece would be consistency. Because regardless of what you're doing in your profile or the conversations you're having on LinkedIn or the content you're putting out, if you're not consistent with it, it's not going to work. So, yeah.
Yeah, that is so true. So true. And consistency in what you're saying and how you're saying it.
Right.
But also consistency in showing up.
Yes. All of it. Because honestly, if you were to put out a piece of content once a month, that's not consistent enough. When I started in 2018, it was 2 videos a week. Tuesday and Friday, I was putting out videos, and I kept that up for over a year. If anyone knows videos, it's not that easy to do on a regular basis. And so one thing that kept me going is I just didn't look at my numbers. I wasn't looking at the views I was getting, the impressions I was getting, because I knew I had to be consistent. I was determined to keep this going. So yeah, that's a big part of it. And then, like you said, showing up with the exact same message or similar type message so that you stayed on the right path.
So that's really interesting that you were recording a regular video, but you weren't measuring your metrics. What was the decision behind that?
Because I knew I was just starting out. So whatever I was doing, I knew that I would probably be disappointed or bummed out that the numbers weren't high. And so I just kept doing the videos regardless of what the numbers were, because I knew that I was at the beginning point of this and I needed to stay consistent with it.
That's quite brave in a way, isn't it? Yeah. And it's interesting about video because I do a regular Monday morning video, and it started out as it was an idea of something to post about on LinkedIn, but I've slightly changed it recently to something you can do this week on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And it gets quite low engagement. And I've been doing it, I think it is coming up for a year now, but it gets quite low engagement. But everywhere I go, people talk to me and they say, I love your Monday morning video. I love your Monday morning video. And it's like, wow. And if I, again, like you, if I looked at those metrics, I would probably have stopped doing it. Or if I stopped listening to actually what people are saying, and I probably would have thought, oh, I'm not doing very well. These aren't doing very well. I'm going to give these up. But I think what happens is, even though the numbers may be smaller than my other posts of the people that are seeing these videos, they're really engaged in them, and they remember them. And I think that's what's important.
Yep. In the end, if one person gets something out of your piece of content, you can check that box. It doesn't matter to reach the viral stage. That's not what it's about. It's about reaching one person who didn't know what you were teaching before and then who remembers you. So the fact that they're coming back to say, I remember these videos and I love these Monday videos, then you're striking a chord with an audience.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's really interesting. So the three aspects, actually, I'm just going to say hello to some people who have arrived, and they're saying hello. So Andre Thomas, hello, lovely to see you, Andre. Andre and I hang out in real life.
Yay!
Not just
Hi, Andre.
We met on LinkedIn and then we hooked up in real life because he's not that far from me.
Yay.
We have the lovely G in the house. G. Hello, G. Lovely to see you.
G's awesome. And I met G in real life about a year and a half ago.
Oh, did you? Whereabouts?
Yep, in Texas. We were both at the same conference. She walks into the room, Sarah, and I jumped up from my seat and I ran over to give her a big hug. It was like, I wasn't expecting to see her. Like, I didn't know she was coming. And I was just like, oh my gosh. I was just so excited.
Oh, that's brilliant. I've yet to meet G in person. One day, I hope, soon. And we have Elizabeth Walker in the house.
Yay. Hello. Nice to see you, Elizabeth.
And just joined, we have the lovely Celia. Hello, Celia. Lovely to see you. Yay. And Celia and I are going to be meeting up in person in May because she's doing my one-day workshop. So we're all good here.
Fantastic. Awesome. Yeah.
Cool. Right. Let's get back to the 3 steps, the triangle strategy.
Yep.
Profile, content, engagement.
Yep.
Talk to us. Just give us a little overview of what they all mean and what people need to be doing.
Well, the profile is really the foundation piece for everything you're doing on LinkedIn. If your profile is not speaking to who you want to reach, what you do, what your goals are, then you're not reaching it's not going to go anywhere because your message is not clear. So you need to know what your goal is to start out with, and that will help you optimize each piece of your profile. But then the other 2 pieces are essentially taking your online billboard and bringing traffic by it. So if your billboard is sitting on a highway and nobody's passing by it, then it's just a pretty billboard sitting on top of a highway and no one's seeing it. So there really is a visibility aspect that goes into the conversations and the content. But also it goes back to LinkedIn as a big networking event. And so if you create the know factor in your profile and you create the like factor in your comments, and then the trust factor comes in your content. So again, big networking event, people need to get to know, like, and trust you to build those relationships. So there's multiple reasons why this triangle strategy works. And then there's really some overlap on each part of it because you're not one and done. Once you've finished your profile, it's not going to be good forever. You always have to go in there and tweak a little bit of it here or there. And the same with your conversations. You need to know who you want to reach, where those conversations are, so you can strategically go to those conversations. And then the content is really knowing your messaging, but then not showing up the exact same way every single piece of content because people get bored. So you got to mix it up every now and then. The fact that you're doing videos on Mondays mixes up your content with everything else that you're doing.
Absolutely. I endorse all of that, all of the above. And I always say, when you walk out the house and you get in your car, how do you know which way to turn? Because you've got to look at your destination. You've got to look at where you're going. Otherwise, you're stuck. You can't move forward or left or right or whichever way it is. Right. So yeah, no, I think that's all really brilliant. So thank you for sharing that.
You got it.
Now, I can't remember when we first met on, I mean, it was definitely on LinkedIn, obviously.
It was LinkedIn, and I think it was Clubhouse too. I think we were in the same rooms every so often in Clubhouse. I think
okay.
So. Mm-hmm.
And
so
then
it's been 4 years or so, maybe?
Yeah,
3 or 4 years
ago. 2020.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we all moved over, or moved to LinkedIn. Well, we were on LinkedIn anyway, and then we all found each other on LinkedIn, and we've developed these friendships.
Yep. Yeah.
And I love that.
Regardless of where you are, that's what the best part about LinkedIn is I have friends in so many different parts of the world that even though we may not get a chance to see each other on a regular basis in person, you can still build relationships on LinkedIn, and you just need to relate with people. That's what it comes down to, is relate and find the common interest, like we did before the show. We talked about our kids, and and who knew that we both had 2 girls and a boy? So just find the similarities, the commonality between the 2 people.
Absolutely. That's exactly what it is, because it is networking, as you said, it's networking. And it is building those relationships. And then when you do get to meet somebody in real life that you've met on LinkedIn, it's so magical.
Oh, it is.
And the other way around as well. You meet people in person, but you can continue those relationships on LinkedIn, so you don't forget about each other.
Right.
And from a brand perspective, you're staying top of mind. So when that person needs your goods or your services, or somebody comes to them and asks them for a referral, you're there. You're the one that they're going to be thinking of.
Right. Because you're visual to them. You're visible.
Up,
Yep. You're popping up, and they see you, and they remember you, and they're referring business to you. I've had referrals for business from people who I haven't talked to in a long time. And they just remember you because you're showing up in their feed on a regular basis. Yeah. So it really makes a difference. It really does. It's not about all in person or LinkedIn. I think there's a happy mix of both. You can make both work.
Absolutely. And in fact, when we were in lockdown, after, when we all came out of lockdown, my first thought was, oh, crikey, is this my career going down the Swanee? Is everybody going to jump back into wanting to meet up in person and not communicate on LinkedIn? But actually, what's happened is people have realized that they can continue those relationships really easily by using LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And it's great.
It really is a good mix of both. I think you need to understand that, yes, you need to make that really good first impression in person, but making a good first impression or second impression or third impression on LinkedIn keeps you top of mind. So that's what it's all about, is you need to be top of mind when that buying decision is coming, when they're ready to write out the check or bring out the credit card or pay via PayPal or Venmo, whatever it is, that you are the person that they are looking to spend their money with.
Absolutely. And in fact, we have such big networks, and I certainly forget people. I'm sorry, but I do. I've got lots and lots of people in my world, and somebody might come to me and say, oh, do you know, I don't know, a graphic designer, let's say. So I'll hop over to LinkedIn, type in graphic designer in my first degree connections, and all these people will come up, and I go, oh my goodness me, I forgot about all of these people. But they're there, they're sitting there, and it's fantastic. It's such a great resource for everybody.
And it allows you to then go through those people and see who is the best person to refer. Who would you trust with your business? And then make that referral so that it's quick and easy, and you're sending them in the right direction too.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I just love the way everybody connects up. And in fact, somebody this morning said to me, oh, I don't suppose you know this particular person at this particular organization, do you? I said, no, I don't think I do. So I went onto LinkedIn and I saw that I was a second degree connection to that person. So I went to the mutual connection and said, hey, how are you doing? A friend of mine would like to meet this other guy. Would you mind doing an introduction? And she said, no, absolutely not. That's fine. And that's how LinkedIn works. It just grows and grows, doesn't it?
How it works. It's the power of the introductions, the power of the conversations that you just never know. So you have to ask, because you just never know where that relationship is going to go.
Absolutely. No, it's so true. And talking of relationships, so we're kind of competitors in a way, you know, we do the same kind of thing and our audience is similar. And we were talking about how we all connect together, and we all met in Clubhouse and now we're on LinkedIn. But there's a really amazing network of LinkedIn trainers who we're all friends.
Yeah.
How has that evolved, do you think?
I think that when it comes to doing what we do, it's not about competitiveness, competitors. I really think of it as collaborators. I really think that we all work with people, maybe doing similar things, but people work with people, and then you don't know who's going to click with the other person. And so, and then when it comes to problem solving, that's when we all come together and we all try to figure out, well, my client is having an issue with this and I can't figure it out. Would you be able to help? That's when we kind of tag people in if that's what we need. So yeah, I think we're just a big happy family that just really enjoys LinkedIn and just really, it's not about, for me, it's not about competitor. It's not, it's really just about collaborator and figuring out how we can all work in the same area, the same sphere.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And, you know, we're a member of various groups and, you know, private groups on LinkedIn. And it's just wonderful how we all share our knowledge. I think people are so kind and generous in those groups. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, LinkedIn trainers, they're the best. I love them.
Yeah. It's a special person to do what we do, and we all really enjoy it too. That's something else, is we just really have a lot of fun doing it. So
no, it is good fun. Work has to be fun, doesn't it?
You know, I'm telling you that if you're not happy doing what you do, that it's time to reconsider what you do, because life is way too short to be unhappy. Life is way too short to get up and have a growl on your face or a scowl on your face and say, I got to go in and do the same thing in the same time. I mean, it's time to rethink things if that's your thought, that it's just, life is too short to be unhappy.
Yeah, it is. And that's what I tell my kids. And I say, you just do what you want to do and it'll work out. And let's hope I'm right. Seems to be okay at the moment.
Yeah, you got to trust. You got to trust that they are on the right path. But yeah, and that path could change. It could change like 6 times. I had my 3rd grader talking about what he wants to do in college. And I'm like, dude, you got a ways to go before that. We could change paths like 12 times between now and then.
Yeah, he has got a way to go, but good for him for having, you know, aspiration. I like that.
Oh, yeah.
So you've got a lot of followers on LinkedIn, over 29,000. How long has that taken you to build that?
In 2018, I was in a sales job, and that company wanted me to use LinkedIn in order to bring in new business. Now, prior to that job, I was on it like an online resume type person. So I was one of those people where I wasn't super active on it. And that job, looking back, totally changed how I treated LinkedIn. Because once I got here, I started realizing, yeah, this is a really awesome place. And I need to figure out how to make this work. And hence the triangle strategy developed for me, because I was cold call pitching for a while. Yep. I still say thank you, Sarah, to those people that stayed connected with me, even though they got a cold call pitch. It was every now and then they pop up in my direct messages, and I'm like, Thank you so much for not getting rid of me back in the day.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, I only did it for a matter of weeks, but I'm like, I am just so grateful for all those people that have followed me all this time. But the reason why I share that story is I only had 400 connections in back of the day. So I grew from 400 to 11,000 in 18 months. And I wasn't paying attention to those numbers either. I really wasn't, because I was so committed to that schedule, the content schedule, the commenting, what I was saying in my profile, that I wasn't really paying attention. And I'll never forget the moment in my living room where I looked up and I'm like, no. Like, what was I doing? And now I have people telling me, Deanna, with all of the followers that you have, you could fill half of a stadium. I'm like, really? That's just mind blowing to me. That's just like, I had someone, we went to New York City and I had someone in a bus terminal. Like, I think they recognized me, but they didn't want to say anything. And I was with my kids. And it was just really, it was a very awkward moment, because I felt like going up to the person and saying, do you recognize, like,
that's funny.
I didn't want to like cause them to be uncomfortable, but it was very surreal. Yeah.
Well, it is a bit surreal. And I've had a very similar experience sitting on the tube in London. And my husband was standing next to me and he whispered, he said, there's that guy's next to you. He's looking at you in a really weird way. And I turned to him and he went, hey, are you Sarah Clay? I said, yes, I am. And I did recognize him from LinkedIn. Nice. And we got chatting.
Nice.
That's bonkers, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I felt like a sort of celebrity or influencer.
Yeah. You just never know. You never know when you bump into these people. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. But it's like you say, it's building the trust by being consistent on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
But the other thing as well is to be yourself.
Yes. Be the same person online who you are offline, because life is too short to be fake. Don't be fake. Just be real. Just be the same person. And I always tell people, be authentic without saying that you're authentic. Because don't use the word. Just show up as you. And people who relate with you, who resonate with you, are going to like you. You're going to find your tribe, and everyone else doesn't matter. You're just the tribe that follows you. I've had people tell me, I've been following you for years. And I'm like, really? Thank you. I don't know why, but thank you.
No, and I'm always flattered when people, they'll, or somebody will send me a message, or I meet somebody and they're like, how's your foot? And I'm like, how do you know about my foot? Because I posted about, I broke my foot or whatever it was. And I am always so flattered. And it is important that we do share some personal stuff, I think, about ourselves.
Yeah. But you can peel away the onion as long as you're comfortable with it. Yeah. So I never tell people, because they always ask me, what's the difference between professional and personal? Where's how do I balance it? You have to balance, and you have to do you. Because if I were to tell you have to do this many or this many or this many, it may seem overwhelming to you. So you have to come out and take a baby step out, as long as you feel comfortable with doing it. So that's what it all boils down to, is you need to be comfortable with showcasing a little bit of the human side, so that people don't just get all the business stuff 24/7.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, I was teaching a company yesterday, and I was saying exactly the same thing, but also I was saying you only do what you can on LinkedIn where you feel comfortable. And if you don't want to post as an employee, if you really don't want to write that post and post it, then I'm not going to make you, because it's not going to read well.
No, it's not going to sound right.
No.
It's going to be forced, and it's going to be like, I feel like I could compare it to like the ChatGPT. If you were to ask ChatGPT something and copy and paste directly what it says without putting it in your own words, it's going to sound very robotic. It's not going to sound like a human being actually wrote it.
Absolutely. And oh my gosh, we could talk about AI and LinkedIn.
Oh yeah, that's another show.
That's another show. Yeah, absolutely. Come on again, Deanna, and we'll talk about that.
You got it.
Do you know, I've just realized we have only 5 minutes left.
Oh, see, I told you it would fly by. I told you.
It does fly. It does fly. I love these. This is a highlight of my week, my Thursday at 3:00. So we have 3 things to talk about quickly before if we go over a little bit, we may go over.
Okay.
Purple. Talk to me about the word purple, because you've got something here, haven't you?
Mm-hmm. I earned a nickname without even going after the nickname. And I'm going to do a video tomorrow on LinkedIn all about the purple squirrel magnet and how it all transformed. But it stemmed from something that happened during that job I was in before I started Leverage Up. And people started using it and calling me it as nickname. And then it's hung with me ever since.
Purple squirrel magnet.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody, you know where to go tomorrow.
Yep.
And
we'll find out
all about Deanna's purple squirrel magnet nickname.
Yep.
That is crazy. And you have a live show later on today, don't you?
I do. It's an Ask Me Anything type show. And this is a new thing for me. I am basically like opening up Zoom and taking people's questions, and we may do live screen shares on LinkedIn. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it'll be really cool to just not have anything prepared and just chat for an hour and answer people's questions all about LinkedIn. So I'm looking forward to it. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, as we were saying earlier, that when I ran a room in Clubhouse, LinkedIn for Entrepreneurs Club, it was, and we used to do that. And it was so random, the questions that we got asked, but it was great fun. And boy, does it keep you on your toes. You know?
Yep, it does. It does. I'm ready to go. I'm going to make sure I have a good lunch. Get started.
Absolutely. So, Deanna Russo, can you, as a kind of closing off, really, because we're coming to the end, can you give us 3 actionable tips that viewers and listeners to the podcast can take away and action like today?
Yep. So think of your profile as your online billboard, and step away from your job title, step away from the hole that you have built in your company. Okay. Cause that's like, that's who I am. That's who I show up as, and start to think big picture. What do you do? What do you do? What problems do you solve? And bring that to your headline, bring that to your banner. So think away and a big picture type, like what problems do you solve? That's number 1. Number 2, think about LinkedIn as a big networking event, and everyone there is getting to know you and like you and trust you. So show up in those comments, because if you just react to a post, how can they get to know you? How can they get to like you? It's easy to just hit the react button, but come out of that shell and just comment like a real person. And then the third one is the content. When you post your content, stay consistent. Stay consistent, whatever you do and it's not just about the time or the day. It's about the messaging. You have to remember that messaging has to stay consistent as well. So you need to stay on your path, because if you diverge off of it, you can jump right back on. But you need to stay. Determination and perseverance are really big words for LinkedIn. You just need to, because it's not a sprint. Nothing about LinkedIn is a sprint. It's a marathon.
Wow, amazing, amazing tips. So I'm just going to quickly recap. So number one is treat your profile as your billboard. I love that, your billboard, and use that wisely. Number two is build trust with your audience by commenting on people's posts, which is brilliant. And number three is use your content wisely and be consistent and persevere. Keep going. Don't give up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Amazing.
It's not about the numbers. It's not. It's about the people that are reading it on the other side of the phone, on the other side of the laptop. Keep in mind the people that are reading it. Because if you get bogged down in numbers, you'll get upset and you'll get frustrated. And it's actually quite funny that there's been times where I've seen a number that it completely is opposite, polar opposite of the comments that I've gotten. So I'm like, how could a post have gotten like 20 impressions when I have 20 comments? I'm like, that doesn't make sense.
I know. It's so random that, isn't it? Surely that can't be right.
Like, that's not right.
It is what it is. Yeah. And I think the impressions is a very odd metric anyway. And it doesn't really mean an awful lot. It's more reach, isn't it? It's how many. Right. Well, I always say it's this. It's when a post does that, isn't it? It just literally goes up through somebody's feed and they may or may not have stopped on it and read it.
You got to stop the scroll. You got to get their attention and stop their scroll.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, we have come to the end
of
our lovely time together. I'm going to definitely have you back on for sure.
Yay.
Come back. Will you come back, Deanna?
Purple Girls Unite once again. It's like the cartoon characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember what it is. Someone's going to comment in the comments but there are two twins and they came together and they created different things. I don't know. Someone's going to answer it in the comments.
Who are purple?
They weren't purple. They were twins, and they were an animated like superhero type show. I think it was Wonder Twins, or it was something like that. I'll find it. I'll send it to you. I can't remember the name.
Please do. Oh, Deanna Russo, it's been amazing. And if anybody's around in 2 hours' time, please go to Deanna's feed and catch her live because she's amazing, as you have just found out. And come back and join me next week at 3 p.m. UK, 10 a.m. Eastern. And I have the guest next week is sales trainer Tracy Bedwell, who I met in person recently, an English lady who's amazing at sales and tells it like it is, no nonsense, and is really, really knows her stuff. So very excited to have Tracy. But Deanna Russo, thank you so much for everything, for being here, for sharing your thoughts and your tips with us. And I'm going to play out with a bit of music.